What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to another training vlog. I just came back from vacation and I finished my last training vlog with last week. So we're heading into a new training vlog and I wanted to test out something new or something I did in the past that worked very well for me. So I'm now opting for a 5-day training split with shorter sessions per training and hopefully more input per session. And yeah, I will guide you through every single session throughout this training block. So I won't do every single session, of course, but I will show you each training session, and yeah, maybe you can learn something along the way, why I'm doing certain things and so on. And yeah, I'd say let's get started and see you in the gym. we're done with today's session. It was a pretty good one. I didn't expect things to move that well. I started off with some easy pressings, a Hooklying Dumbbell Alternating Press. The Hooklying Dumbbell Alternating Press really helps me to work on my ribcage mobility, and additionally it helps to stabilize my ribcage, as this is an anti-rotation exercise. And what we're doing here is we're trying to resist twisting towards the pressing side. So whenever you lower the right hand side, you don't want to rotate toward that side with the opposite shoulder. So that really helps to lock in shoulder stability. Then I'll continue with some incline pressing. Here the focus was to not flare my ribs and to keep the lower back nicely in contact with the bench. Even though I'm a lot weaker this way, this really helps me to improve my shoulder flexion, so my ability to raise the arm overhead without actually flaring my ribs and therefore compensating. So the carryover to proper pressing like bench press will be sick whenever I switch over to it, simply because I can give my pecs a lot of length, and then when it's time for it, I can really start leveraging those gains. And then I continued with an alternating Arnold Press with dumbbells. So here I'm working toward the end range of shoulder flexion, working each side individually, again an anti-rotation exercise, but doing it in that alternating fashion really helps me to facilitate better scap movement on each side, simply because when we are only working on one side, we can kind of translate the ribcage laterally and therefore just emphasize a little bit more scapular movement on that ribcage. And yeah, this is a phenomenal exercise. We're starting with the humerus in an externally rotated position and move into an internally rotated position, so into max end range shoulder flexion, and that really helps me to lock in that end range shoulder flexion. Then we'll continue with some accessories. We just kept it simple today. Some Pec Flys, one set in the moderate rep range and one set in the higher rep range to really finish the glycogen in my muscles. And then I'll end it up this session with some cable single arm over shoulder triceps extensions with the upper arm in an internally rotated position, really working on unlocking anterior expansion, so keeping the anterior chest wall open, where as the shoulder blade can then sit nicely on that rib cage. And that is the second step before moving into higher ranges of shoulder flexion. So in the next couple of vlogs, I will progress this exercise to an overhead triceps extension. As of now, I'm starting off a little bit lower in the range and then gradually increasing the range of motion as soon as my mobility improves and I can get into that range without compensating. So in general, today's session was a blast, and I'm definitely looking forward to the next couple of training sessions, see how it goes when I'm really dialing in on each movement pattern, so pull, push, legs, and see how much I can get out of it. And yeah, if you haven't done yet, please subscribe to my channel, like this video and share it so more people get to know me, and it would help me a ton. And if you're interested in one-on-one online coaching, then go into the description, access the coaching waitlist, because the coaching is closed at the moment. And if you want to get involved, then you should get on that waitlist. It's filling up quite fast, so don't miss out. I will be opening up a couple of coaching spots end of September, so if you're interested, don't miss out. That's it for today's video. See you in the next one.